Hello and welcome to Who Are You? This is the Babylon 5 Watchcast, hosted by a couple of former strangers, now friends, who have gotten to know each other while we're watching a classic show from their childhood, Babylon 5. I'm Xhafer.
And I'm Laura.
And I am the one who was, or the one who is. Wait, no, I think I'm the one who will be. I am the one who ain't. That's what it is. I'm Victor. Hello, everyone.
I have something exciting today, guys.
Yeah?
I'm having CBD tea.
Ooh.
Jafar always gets to do his CBD tea voice. This is mine.
It's nice. It's solid. You're doing well. I want CBD tea now. Actually, it's about
Pause
that
the
time for me.
podcast, everyone.
That is a beautiful mug, by the way, for the listeners who, on the audio version, Laura has this beautiful Babylon 5 mug with the Earth Alliance logo on it. It's, oh my God, that's amazing.
Guess who got it for me?
I did.
Does his name start with an X?
It does, yeah. One of my many
I-
friends whose name starts with X.
I have a beer stein that was done the same way
Yeah.
Nice.
as well.
That's pretty cool.
like
Oh,
one
a
of those
Stein.
Big, yeah, it's a big boy.
A Stein. Nice.
Yeah.
But today I think Victor's going to ask us some questions.
I do have a question for you two here today, and it comes in the form of a puzzle or a game,
Oh, no.
or yeah, it's real quick, but it's a lot of fun. And okay, so you have your pencils ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Now I'm gonna start a timer here.
Oh,
I'm gonna
no.
give you. It's fun. It's not
No pressure.
no pressure at all.
I feel pressure.
Let me see. I'll just give you 15 seconds. That's good.
Oh,
for
is
a
that all?
podcast. Yeah. All right. Now, now make a list from top to bottom. First thing that comes to your head. Don't think about it too much. Can you name the 7 deadly sins? Go. And pencils down.
Okay.
All right. So
Oh,
how many did you
boy.
guys get?
I got 4.
I
Four?
got
How
6.
many did you get, Laura?
I think.
Wow. Okay. Okay, Xhafer, give us your list first.
I got gluttony, wrath, lust, and
That's it.
sloth.
That's all I need to know. That's good right there. Because
Okay.
it's a little game that's the first couple that you think of are the ones you are most guilty of.
Oh, no.
that's fair.
Do we want to know the ones that Laura's guilty of?
Yes, we do. The audience is dying to know.
What's in the box?
Lust, sloth, greed, gluttony, pride, wrath. That's the 6. I
Not at
remember.
all what I would have guessed.
Aaron's going to be smiling at this one.
And just for, just to be fair, first time I did this, the only one I could think of was lust and sloth. So I forgot the rest.
I'm really sad about the 7th now. I don't remember what it is.
Pride, envy.
Envy. That's it. I missed that one.
envy.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, not jealous people here.
That's awesome.
Interesting. So the one that you had first, Jafar, was
Gluttony,
gluttony.
which is 100% true.
Awesome.
Guilty
I'm
as
going to
charged.
leave mine at no comment. Thanks.
Sweet.
That's fun.
Well, speaking of lust,
It's a very apropos because there is a bit of sinning from our dead returning, and we
true.
we get more than one. And not that I judge, because I definitely live in a glass house, so I throw no stones.
Word.
But we have some interesting interactions that involve, I would say, pride, gluttony, lust. That we kind of run the gamut here. Envy, with our dead characters returning from the dead in season 5, episode 8, Day of the Dead.
this is
This
one
is
of my
the Streak
favorite
Breaker.
episodes. Streak Breaker.
Yeah. So before this, every episode since season 2 was written by Joe Michael Straczynski.
Yes, indeed.
So all of season 3, all of season 4, the back chunk of season 2, and up until this point in season 5, all solo writing credits.
Wow. No way. So, JMS wrote
All of
everything up to this point. You're
well,
kidding me.
there's, I want to say, a dozen episodes before this that were written by other authors,
Okay.
but they're all in season 2 or season 1.
Right.
And did I read the credits correcttly on this?
Oh,
Neil
you did.
Gaiman
Oh, you
wrote
sure
this
Neil
did.
episode?
Gaiman.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
like that, the same Neil Gaiman?
The Neil Gaiman. Yeah.
he was less famous then than he is now, admittedly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
But
to
was still well known.
Did we
I'm gonna have to
discuss this
Wikipedia that.
before? That it was right around the time that he came out with American Gods when this episode came out?
When I think American Gods was the early 2000s. I want to say 2002, off the cuff.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on
I
that.
feel like early 2000s feels right. I thought we might have discussed this with Yum Yum Pod, but I
Yeah.
cannot remember.
This is 98 when
Okay.
this episode aired.
So he
it's
could certainly
probably
have been
written-
writing it if it had not come out yet.
Yeah, I'm sure he had gone on record of saying that he wrote that book for 10 years before it was released.
Oh,
so
well, fair enough.
yeah,
I think that's how
regardless of
books
when it
work.
was released. It definitely is. But yeah,
I know he wrote Good Omens. I'm trying to
yes,
think here.
with Terry Pratchett.
I always get this guy confused. Is he the same? He's not the same one who did the turtle with the elephants on the
Oh,
planet.
Terry Pratchett is the one
That's
who did
Discworld.
Discworld, yes.
Terry
So-
Pratchett's
Who's the
Discworld.
other
Neil-
guy
Neil
who
Gaiman
wrote Good
and
Omens.
Terry Pratchett
Okay.
wrote that together, yeah.
All right, yeah.
So
I was-
I think his most successful work at this point would have been the Sandman comics.
Mhm.
Hmm.
We talked about this when we talked about this episode over on Yum Yum Podcast, which, by the way, we'll give another shout out to because we guested over there for their coverage of this episode. And I did profess my love for Neil Gaiman at that point,
Mhm.
and I went on a bit of a tirade, perhaps, a
Tangent,
pontificated
just a tangent.
tangent about Neil Gaiman. So I will not repeat myself and instead encourage you, listener, if you want to hear me talk a bunch about Neil Gaiman, to go listen to Yum Yum Podcast coverage of this episode.
And also, they're a delight, yeah.
Was it a wrathful rant there, Xhafer?
Not really. No, probably not.
Lustful.
Definitely closer. So we open on this episode with fucking Penn and Teller coming through space TSA.
I was so excited when I started this episode for the rewatch for this podcast because I forgot that this was the Rebo and Zudi episode.
Yes, because there wasn't enough going on. So we needed
Yeah.
Penn and Teller in this guy too.
Sure.
And also, speaking of credits, did I also read that correctly that Harlan Ellison was the voice of Zudi in this episode?
Apparently so.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Was it going to be Teller?
Right. Can't break that magic. I remember, and I think I did talk about this on Yum Yum Pod, but I'm going to share it with these listeners anyway, that when I first got a copy of American Gods, it had a review on the back. You know how the books have the little reviews from people to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is a great book. One of the reviews was from Teller of Penn and Teller. And I was like,
wow.
but he's not supposed to say anything. But he did like the book.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Nice.
have to check my copy now to see who the reviews are
Yeah. You
on
should.
the back.
Yeah, this opening with them doing their shenanigans there at the customs agent, that's just another sign that this was written in the 90s, back when you could have gotten away with doing this shit at the airport without getting tased.
Yeah, can you imagine trying to come through actual United States TSA right now with a person in a bag?
In a bag, yeah, with the little puppet popping out now there, they would have fucking tackled you, and there would have been a crowd of
Bad
people
day.
putting it on YouTube, and it would have been on,
Yeah.
this-
The TikToks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun just flying with a cooler for medical reasons. So a person in a bag seems hard.
After this, we get a little bit overheard about the Precari death comet, and for some reason, sugar skulls.
This reminded me so much of when I was a young kid, just before this even came out, because it brought back memories of when we would go to my grandmother's house in Corpus Christi on my mother's side of the family, the Mexican side of my family from Matamoros, and we would celebrate Day of the Dead. And I just remember going crazy for these little skull lollipops that we always had. And, I talked to my mother about this over the holidays and asked her about like when we would do that, and either her memory's fucked up or my memory's fucked up, because she was like no, Ito, we never celebrated Day of the Dead. I'm like, what? She was like, no, we did. Then she told me we did All Saints Day, which was November 1st, and a completely different thing. So I don't know. Either, I mean, she's 71, I'm 41, so our memories are all over the place. So
Yeah.
but I do very specifically remember those delicious ass skull lollipops that had like an orange cream and a black border. I don't know. All I know is that around Halloween time was the only time I could get them. So those were delicious. So
we need to go on a hunt.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I've been Googling. I've been trying to find it.
Oh, they have to be. You have to be able to Amazon those.
Oh yeah. Got to be. And I noticed here that we are rewatching this. This is something I didn't realize when I first saw Babylon 5 when I was a kid. But I read in the Wikipedia that, or the Babylon 5pedia, that JMS purposely based this on Dia de los Muertos, this holiday here.
Mhm.
But rewatching this, seeing the Brakiri with, what do we know about the Brakiri? They got a big crime syndicate. They celebrate Day of the Dead. Some of their crime syndicate guys tattoo their faces. They slick back their hair, and they wear suits with the top buttoned. And I'm watching this, and I'm realizing, oh, they're space cholos.
Yeah, I have a question here. Not for this group in particular, but just in general. It's so Neil Gaiman to take a line of dialogue and go, oh, if you are a carbon-based life form who can metabolize sugar, then they're candy. Otherwise, they're a decoration. But not say anything about why the fuck aliens are doing the Mexican sugar skulls. Like, did they co-opt it? Is it some weird they visited and influenced Mexican culture in the past kind of a thing?
I am down for that fan theory.
Or
Hey.
Is it just the same thing on complete cosmic accident? Because all three could work for these two authors.
I am
for both
headcanoning the
JMS
hell out
and
of
Neil
this.
Gaiman.
5,000 years before this episode started, the last time the comet came through, somehow the Brakiri gods got their paperwork mixed up, and they thought the Aztec cities were part of Brakiri, and they somehow got transported into the last Day of the Dead celebration. I'm no historian, but I think 5,000 years ago would have been Aztec time, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably wrong.
You
Listeners,
can throw
I'm sure
any
someone will
history
correct
number
me.
at me and I will believe you.
Yeah.
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 The other thing I didn't realize, I should have paused on the screen and asked, do these skulls look Brakiri shaped?
They did
Not
have a little...
particularly.
Or are they human shaped?
Did you think they did?
I thought they did. Well, hang on. Let me rewind it. I got the episode on my TV right here.
Oh,
Please tell us.
Yeah, I think so. I think their forehead looked a little bulbous.
okay, that's fair
somewhat.
then.
Yeah. Also, oh yeah, they did. They have a weird red semicircle thing behind them to make it look like their cranium is a little. So yeah, they could. It's reasonable to say they could be Brakiri skulls.
All right,
Yeah.
this passes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I want to know is, how did he know that Londo was going to be the Brakiri guy who gives Londo the candy skull? How did he know that he was going to be the Emperor?
I'm just
It's
assuming
literally
it's
in the
news.
newspaper in the next scene.
But see, now I thought that he couldn't be Emperor until the Regent dies. Is that what it is? Or am I remembering it wrong?
It's in the paper that Londo is the next Emperor in the next scene. Because now, thanks to the HD upgrade, we can read the newspaper props.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it's he's got the newspaper open and he's got the bottom of it open, right?
Yeah.
And it's in the very bottom corner, and it's maybe 5% of the page. It's a very tiny little article. And then he flips it over, and in giant letters, it's Rebo and Zudi visit Babylon 5 all over it.
Sure, yeah.
But it is in the news. I think it's supposed to be some bullshit mysticism thing to get to what you're actually asking. It feels like that, but it is known at this point.
Okay, I guess that would make sense if he was. I'm gonna have to rewatch this whole season because I remember it being a
The
surprise.
next episode is him going to Centauri Prime to become the Emperor. So
yeah, because I thought
Spoilers.
Regent Celine, what is his name? Verini.
Verini.
Yeah, I thought he had to die before Londo became Emperor. So I don't know. That just seemed a little weird to me.
I thought of him as just a placeholder, and
Yeah.
And I know we don't usually elect emperors, but I guess in my head they were going to elect an emperor.
Yeah, because
No,
at this
I think
point,
they say the Centaurum votes for emperor.
Okay.
do they?
I think
Okay.
that happens.
Because I know at this point Londo is the prime minister. So I don't know. The Centauri
It's all
monarchy.
like hand
Yeah.
wavy. It's fine, Victor. Don't
That's
worry
fine. Yeah.
about it.
That is.
It feels a lot like Russia. Like, you know who's in charge, right? Like, we don't have to do this thing.
Speaking of hand wavy, I know I've said this before, but I love that the fact that they think newspapers are still going to be around in the future.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's like, in the 90s, we were really thinking, weren't we?
Makes me wonder what people are going to say about modern sci-fi shows today, 50 years from now. Something like, oh God, can you believe these guys? They still use their mouths to talk. They still read their text messages with their eyes instead of getting them beamed into their skulls or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably be a lot about, oh, that's clearly a TV screen and not a hologram or something.
Yeah.
I got to imagine. I mean, I don't know. That's one of the things I always notice. And I'm all like, oh, that's an old CRT TV. Like, or not a TV at all, and clearly just lights on a cutout of a screen, a black screen.
It's very obvious to me now, watching Babylon 5 and the HD upgrade, that anytime they talk to someone on a screen, that it's pre-recorded on a VHS that they stuck in with the lines, and it's very obvious to me now.
Yeah. It's fun to, think back when we were kids watching it, and it wasn't obvious back then. But here we are, older and wiser.
So we get Tonight is the Day of the Dead, which is a fucking awkward sentence to theme.
Yeah.
When we come back...
Supposed to make us wonder, right?
Yeah. Ooh. Well, they have to make the joke later. Well, it's not even a joke, but they're nocturnal.
Yeah.
We got to explain it. But when we come back from theme, Lanier has come to be fucking weird about Delen's marriage.
Yeah.
How's
Lanier.
Your partner? You mean my husband, asshole?
Gosh, poor Lanier.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
I
know.
Feel sorry for Lanier.
I know, but I still feel sorry for Lanier.
I feel sorry for him in that I feel like the writers did him dirty. Like, this wasn't...
that's right.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Bill Mummy.
Yeah. This wasn't
actually,
my boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think I still feel more sorry for Delen, because she's wise. She knows what's going on. She's just trying to deal with it as well as she can. I mean, what's she going to do? What's a better thing to do? Fire him?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, he's a capable ranger, whatever his job is. He's good at it. But, well. Yeah. But, so do you guys think that Lanier really genuinely came back to Babylon 5 because he was curious about Day of the Dead, or did he just want an excuse to see Delenn again?
No, I buy it.
It's probably both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be both.
It can be both.
I remember he was like curious about other cultures and stuff when he first came on Babylon 5. And
that's right. That does fit his character, because I just remembered when he rebuilt Garibaldi's motorcycle and was fascinated with motorcycle culture. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this is genuine and honest. And okay, maybe he did also want to like drop by Delen's quarters, but he's curious about this phenomenon. And it's once every 200 years, guys.
Was it 200?
I think
thought
that's
it
what
said
they
5,000.
It's every 200 years. I'm pretty
Is it
sure.
really? Oh, okay. Wow. For some reason, I thought it was 5,000 years. My brain's all over the place. Okay.
Well, if it is every 200 years, then it is also every 5,000 years, because those are divisible numbers. So you've got that.
So you're not wrong, Victor.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Yeah. Penn and Teller are like, they're not funny here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're most definitely not funny. I mean, not as funny as the crowd is reacting to them.
Oh, for sure. I love Lockley because she's the only sane person in this room when Penn and Teller are telling their jokes. And she just looks like, what is going on?
And Sheridan is such a fucking asshole here.
Is he? He's just...
Can you imagine looking at your ex-wife and going, hey, this is something you're going to tell your kids about, knowing she doesn't have any? Can you imagine doing that in real life? Like, fucking really? Fucking really?
Me 20 years ago probably has said things like that, like Who am I kidding? Me now probably still says shit like that.
Yeah,
without
we all
realizing
stick
it. So-
We all stick the old
Yeah.
foot in the mouth a little bit, but I think Sheridan should be a little bit more self-aware in this situation.
I do remember my mother told me one piece of advice I always remember my entire life. She told me when I was very young, a closed mouth gathers no foot.
I wish I
That's
had
good.
learned that. Maybe that needs to be my
Still haven't.
2024 mantra.
But, at this point, I think my only exposure to Penn and Teller when this aired was the movie Penn and Teller Get Killed, which is a really fucked up movie. Have you guys seen that?
Do not know this movie.
I do not know this
I
movie.
famously remember it because after I watched it, I remember my parents wouldn't let me watch it again. So it has got some serious dark humor in there. That's a great one. I'm going to have to rewatch that because that's got some dark humor in it.
I'm going to have to
Report back
find
next
this.
time you're on.
Yeah.
For sure. And also, what is that scroll that Sheridan hands them? He says he's giving them the freedom.
The freedom of Babylon 5. I'm
Does
guessing
that
that's
mean-
a Babylon 5 award.
I'm taking this to mean that they can come and go as they please, and all their drinks and food are on the house.
Yeah.
It's like a key to the city, a key to the
Yeah.
station, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have keys on this station, though. That would be...
No, it's too secure for Garibaldi.
They have plenty of paper, apparently. They gave him a scroll, which,
Yeah.
again, how the hell do they get paper in space?
Paper. Have you ever seen paper? Look at it.
So she leaves after getting shit on by her ex-husband. Rightfully so. She goes and finds a meeting to attend.
Oh, no,
And-
she said she had to meet with the Brikiri
The
ambassador.
Brikiri, who are just
And-
waiting in her office.
I noticed that Jakar in the background, who was laughing, who was loving the Rebo and Zudi, suddenly he overheard her saying she has to meet with the Brikiri. He got this ominous look on his face.
Oh,
Like,
I didn't even catch
he was
that.
like, "Oh yeah, it was good." He was putting two and two together. He's like, "Wait a minute, what day is today?"
There's so much with Jakar in the cut of this. If you remember back in season 1, the episode where he was going to be assassinated,
Mhm, mhm.
and they're at the Mimbari ceremony that's not a wedding is a wedding, and they give food to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
He trades food with Ivanova in the background. They never say anything. It just happens completely off. You see it in the corner of the screen. Shit like that. Love this show.
I love how superstitious Jakar is. That's just, oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
And for someone who takes so many precautions about being superstitious, Jesus, dude, this guy's had a lot of bad luck.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So Lockley asked the Brikiri ambassador what everyone is wondering. Why is the Day of the Dead at night?
Nocturnal. It's a translation issue. Oh, okay.
But Jakar busts in like the Kool-Aid man.
Oh, yeah.
On this meeting.
Is it just me, or is this whole episode Jakar doth protest too much? Really?
Yeah. Luckily does not give a shit, though. That
No,
he's a-
not one
She's
fuck.
doing a diplomacy. She can't be interrupted. And not by this guy.
Yeah. I assume you're familiar with the thing that I know you wrote that says that we're supposed to do stuff like this.
Yeah, not this one. Yeah.
We see Garibaldi enter his Brikiri homeworlded quarters. Rebo and Zudi go to Dylan and Sheridan's for dinner, and Zudi tells a very funny Mimbari joke, which makes no sense to us and is not explained.
Yeah.
I love it.
Still
I
cute,
just
yeah.
absolutely love it that is the first time we see Dylan laugh hysterically. And just the concept of studying another alien culture's humor is just fascinating to me. I love
Yeah.
stuff like that. It adds so much depth to the whole world building. Again, and
Yeah.
it totally fits too, because Minjar, I think it's hilarious when you fail to achieve religious enlightenment or spiritual enlightenment. That is so Minbari.
I bet the Minbari love a good pun. They're all about puns, right?
Mhm.
Nobody gets hurt in a pun.
And Lanier, since Lanier was familiar with Rebo and Zudi, man, it makes me wonder what Minbari focused movies or whatever did Rebo and Zudi do in this universe.
I just want to say, guys, I'm going to embarrass myself a little bit here, that Penn and I had the same hairdo in the 90s. That whole like
Pixar didn't happen.
oh, I don't have any of those left, buddy. Like that whole curly hair, but like chopped off at one length.
Mm-hmm.
You brushed it a little too much, and now it's just like poof out to the side. Like, man,
Nice.
that was before I learned how to take care of my hair. And Penn and I were rocking the same do.
I used to have hair down to my shoulders in college for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. Yeah.
And I have also systematically removed all photographic evidence of such.
This is actually the longest my hair has been in over, 2 decades. So this is a big deal for me.
You did have a work reason.
Yeah, I own a hairbrush now. Dude, I haven't owned a hairbrush in over 20 years. That's this is a big deal for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sheridan really wants to hear Teller's voice, but it's not going to happen, right? Like, it's Teller. This is still like deep in the Teller doesn't talk mythos.
Spoiler alert, he talks in that movie I referenced.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, now
you
we
actually
all
hear
have
his
to watch
actual
it.
voice. Yeah.
So Lanier's meditating in his quarters.
With his old triangle rug.
We know
Minbaris
how
love their
Minbari-
triangles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. Well, I mean, it's the three, right? The three who are one, that's a triangle.
Yeah.
With
So-
Boom.
do we think Pythagoras was a Minbari? Like the same.
Could be a Minbari soul or
I'll
whatever.
hear out a fan theory. Lockley clearly doesn't have any streaming subscriptions. She's stuck with the on-air Rebo and Zudi marathons.
I love
Yeah.
that every channel is showing
Rebo and Zudi.
Rebo and
Like the
Zudi.
first time it's like Rebo and Zudi marathon, and she like indignantly walks out to change the channel before she like goes in her shower, and then just keeps flipping and until she gives up.
Yeah.
She has such a bad day.
Jakar is absolutely unhinged too.
This episode was also the first episode I think that I actually started to like Captain Lockley's character.
Yeah.
Because up until this point, to me anyway, it just felt like she was a very obviously cast just to fill the role that Ivanova left.
I had
and-
I said these same things. Yeah.
It's just she's no Ivanova. I mean, she's okay. She's a decent character,
Mhm.
but it's just I felt like I was missing Ivanova, and she just didn't. But in this episode, like I start to empathize with her a little more, and I think it's because that I do the same thing she does, even though like she left Rebo and Zudi on in the background while she was doing work. Like I'm the same way. I can't concentrate in silence. I have to have something on. It's like. So she just left it on the least offensive channel that she could find just to have some background noise. I'm like,
Same.
I'm with you, girl. I do the same thing.
Can we all relate to Corwin a little bit as he's like YouTubing these hat tricks, trying to figure out how to do them on his night shift when, no one else is around?
I remember as a kid asking my mother to buy me a hat like that so I could practice thing after seeing this episode. And getting made fun of at school because I was like, what the hell are you doing there, dude? Stop it.
Oh, so she did buy the hat. Good on mom.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like a little dollar store plastic
Sure,
hat. I remember. I remember because I broke it trying to do the trick.
So supportive, though.
Can we like the decision Jakar makes to go to CNC? Do you think it's because he wanted the attention because he's a dramatic bitch? Or do you think it's because he knew Corwin was there and he's a fucking pushover?
Ooh, good question.
That's a good point.
It could be both.
Yeah.
Why not both? Yeah.
I think I would have assumed that it was for like some kind of superstitious reason, like he wanted to be at the farthest end away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, now that I'm thinking of it, Babylon 5, we know it has motels that you can rent. Maybe
Jakar knows it has brothels.
Yeah. Maybe he was
You have
just
to pay
being
for
a
those
cheap
places. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
CNC
just
is
being a
free.
cheap bastard and was like, I'm gonna go sleep on the floor.
Well, sometimes I can get a good nap in when it's really busy around me. Like all that little
Yeah.
He's like-
white noise. So good.
He's like, Ivanova's gone. I can do whatever I want in CNC now.
for sure. Anyone can go anywhere at any time for any reason on Babylon
Yeah.
5.
Night falls on the station, which means it's also night on Brakiri, I guess.
Sure.
I'm not going to think about it too much.
Now I'm wondering if Precari is tidally locked Like, because it's always night somewhere on a planet, unless maybe
Yeah.
Brakiri doesn't do that. I don't know. Or Brakir.
And is this when the comet, the exact time the comet's passing, or is this when the comet's passing according to the light traveling to the station? Because they've also done that gag on this show before. So it doesn't matter. None of that matters.
This is Neil Gaiman writing. He doesn't have to explain any of this shit.
Yep. Main power goes out in the now Brakiri owned chunk of the station, leaving everything in emergency lighting red, which of course we all know was Pantone's color of the year, 2263.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Because I thought it was the weird comet magic bringing in the red light.
So the lights go out and then red lights come on. And any other time we've lost power, we've had those red lights of dramatic intrigue.
Okay. There what?
Like when Jakar and Londo were in the elevator that was all fucked and it just had the emergency lighting.
Now.
It's that same red.
Sure. True.
Okay. Sorry, I keep asking all these dumb questions.
No such thing.
No, not in this episode either. Yeah.
No, not in this episode. We get the Dead Live fake out of Londo talking to a painting of the first emperor. He's talking to him like, "Oh, well, you beat those other races that were on our planet, the Zon and stuff." But the painting looks like Cartagia.
Thank you. Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Also, Cartagia said he was bringing back the hairstyle of the old emperors.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
So it might be an actual painting of the first emperor that's also just a painting of Cartagia that they reused and maybe fucked with the chin a little or something.
Yeah. I love that he's got this painting just sitting on his couch to have a conversation. Just speaking of unhinged, like everybody in this episode does something weird.
Yeah.
Do you think he got it off the wall and sat it on the couch and like poured it a drink and like got ready for this?
I could see that.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a Londo thing to do. He probably has a collection of paintings that he just owns. He got at auction or whatever. I could see him doing that.
And talks to whenever he's feeling lonely, which is probably a lot.
But yeah, we get the fake out, and then Londo's visitor arrives. It's Adira, and it's time for a sexy visit. Speaking of a sexy visit, Garibaldi gets woken up by Dodger in the shower.
Yeah.
And he gets woken up and immediately reaches for the PPG under his pillow because, of course, Garibaldi sleeps with a PPG under his pillow.
Of course he does. I know the type. It's my dad. Anyways. She gives him shit for getting old, and it's like, it's been 3 years.
No, she doesn't mean old. Old is code for bald here, guys.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right. He did have hair the last time she saw him.
Yeah. I think it's a code word here.
And then Zoe appears to Lockley. We learn it's been 20 years since her ambiguously drug-related death.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just roommates, guys. They're just roommates who had a lot of fun together.
What? Wait, what? I thought Zoe was her sister.
No, they are definitely not related.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Hang on.
No.
To the wiki. I could have sworn.
because she says stuff like, I was hiding from my dad, not our dad.
Oh, gosh.
Not related. And 2, I am using the ambiguous historian term for when women who are sexually and romantically linked live together, of they're just roommates, because there's some heavy implications about Lockley and Zoe's past.
Well, that changes everything. Holy shit. I thought up until for the past 30 years, I thought that was her little sister. I blame my sheltered Mormon upbringing because for giving me a terrible, I ditched all that when I was like a teenager. No, I haven't been, but yeah, my gaydar is horrible. It is terrible, dude. I can't ever tell. Like seriously, for the longest time, I thought Garrick and Bashir were just friends.
I mean, I think we can be forgiven for like having the child blinders on, when we
Oh
watch.
yeah, when you were a kid, yeah.
Yeah, and then,
for sure.
when you watch again, you still got the child blinders a little bit because you want to have the nostalgia. You don't want to take the blinders totally down because then you might not enjoy the show anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched this scene and paused at a certain point where she's like, but we had a lot of fun together, right? And then she says it again. And the way I paused and the way she was looking at Lockley, it's just all like, oh yeah, they were roommates.
I can't believe it. Wow. It just this is such a crazy realization I'm having right now. That changes the entire context of it. And it makes me like Lockley's character even better.
It's also super fucked that her password is Zoe's dead.
That is very fucked.
I know that's in a couple minutes of the episode, but it's so fucked.
Mm-hmm.
It is so incredibly fucked. Ugh. Meanwhile, Rebo and Zudi are just eating and not waiting 4 days, so I guess Sheridan cooked?
Yeah, it would seem so.
We get some lines. Both Zoe and Dodger don't believe in ghosts. LOL. Dodger recalls the knowledge arcane. I think the truth is, if we're being perfectly honest, that the Yellow Rose of Texas can be recited to Emily Dickinson, not the other way around.
I always heard that it was you could sing any Emily Dickinson poem to the tune of Gilligan's Island.
Is that also true?
I should have prepped that for you. I'm very sorry that I didn't. But listener, give it a try.
No, yeah, I will. I have to listen to Gilligan's Island theme because it's been a very long time, but I will be investigating after we're done recording.
Report back, please.
Dodger's mostly just horny on Maine, though.
That
Must
tracks.
be lonely in the afterlife. It kind of sucks because, man, she's Garibaldi.
Yeah, that's what she's lusting for. Okay.
She could have visited anyone in the. Well, actually, I guess not. I guess she couldn't visit anyone.
No, she can visit any Brachyri.
Yeah.
So I guess Garibaldi might be okay then. All right.
He would be the best available choice other than some random ass Brachyri dude. So yeah, or lady. Have we ever seen a Brachyri lady? I don't think we've ever seen a girl Brachyri. Yeah.
Huh. Are they agender?
I was gonna say
that would be cool.
We might not know.
That'd be
Could they be
interesting.
3 genders? 4. Let's just make it a party.
They lay eggs. That's my headcanon right now.
All right.
Andorians have 4 genders.
I love the Andorians.
All right. Well, Sheridan goes to the border of the missing station chunk, and I'm just like, why didn't security do this immediately? Why doesn't Corwin have security do this before he calls Sheridan?
Why do we throw a
point,
pipe?
yeah.
Why do we not try to touch it, and instead we throw a pipe?
The only thing that could have made this scene better is if he had taken his shoe off, thrown it, and then got hit in the head with his own shoe.
Chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoe.
That'd be great. Yeah.
That would have been the funniest thing that happens in the episode with Penn and Teller. Mr. Morden comes for Lanier, and Ed Wasser reminds us that he's just a fucking treasure.
He really
so
is.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the point that I wanted to, my big point for this episode, because this is probably my favorite episode of season 5 or one of them. But it irritates me that Morden came back to visit Lanier.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they never even met on screen or shared any dialogue on screen previously.
We don't know the circumstances here. We know that it's someone who has an impact to be made during the visit, because Jakar says that everyone who was visited seems more at peace. So it has to be someone. I don't think it necessarily needs to be someone that you have a deep personal connection with. It might not be the person you wish to see, and you might not be the person that they would as the dead person. I don't think the dead people are choosing either. I think it is cosmic alignment that brings people together to get them to where they need to be in the future.
That is
kind of the implication.
That's a very good way of fixing it, Xhafer. I gotta say that.
Yeah.
That's a very
Take it,
good,
Neil. It's yours.
That's a very good rationalization for it. Yeah, I gotta say, I specifically requested to be guest hosting on this episode because I have so many thoughts about this, and I felt like in a perfect world where Victor goes back in time and he's directing this episode, and what I would have done, what I would have loved to have seen, is Marcus visiting Lanier.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in Yum Yum, maybe.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, but tell us yours. Tell us yours.
Well, yeah, it just makes so much more sense. You know, they're both Rangers. They're both are dealing with unrequited love, and he could have given him a much better perspective on, Lanier, Delenn doesn't love you. She's never going to love you. You need to move on. It's a big universe. That just would have made more sense to me. And I would have loved to have seen one more interaction with Mr. Morden and Londo. Because, and as wonderful it is to see the beautiful
Veer.
Veer would have been great. Veer's not in this. Yeah, he's not in this episode.
Yeah, we don't know where he's at in this one, but either of them would be really good, right?
Yeah. As lovely as it is to see Lady Adira again, I really feel like Morden coming back to haunt him one more time. Or another thing I thought of was that Adira is there for half the night, and then after Londo falls asleep after their little night of lust, he wakes up and it's Morden sitting there at the edge of the bed saying, "Hello, old friend." Like, that's what I would have loved to have seen.
So I asked on the Discord what other people's opinions were, and we did get a handful of answers in. So I'm going to mention some of those real quick. Yum Yum Ryan wants to know where Kiefer's at.
Yeah.
Since he's very dead.
Sure.
Of which Ben, our co-host on Last Time on Vic, said in everyone else's rooms, winky face. Let's see here. We've got a Shellick wants us to bring back Emperor Turan.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would have been nice.
And also mentions Sinclair, since he's been very dead. Also, Sheridan could have been interacting with himself.
That would have been hilarious.
Which is leading into what I would pitch for this. And I think I brought this up on our episode with Yum Yum. If I didn't, I meant to. But it's Sheridan interacts with Anna before she went to Zaha, or like as she died, because you die on Zahadum, right?
Right.
So he interacts with shadow corrupted Anna.
Yeah, they get some closure.
That would be really cool.
And get some closure. And then Delenn interacts with John as he was getting to like Zahadum, because you die when you hit Zahadum, right?
Yeah.
And so she gets to deal with pre-death, end of Shadow War John.
Yeah.
And look at how much he's grown as a person too. And it's also John, like, in the moment of crisis of what am I going to do with Anna and Delenn now? And so and she didn't really get a chance to interact with him because he just fucking pieces. Because it's like, I'm going to go nuke the shadows. Sorry. So it's a chance for her to interact with him, which she missed.
That would have been interesting. Delenn could have been like, "Why did you never tell me about your other ex-wife?" Who is now the commander of the space station.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more Warpstone through a bunch of rapid fire ones at us in the Discord. Ivanova is visited by a pre-controlled Talia.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that would have been so awesome.
Or her mother.
Zach is visited by Julie Mustaine, who was the Night Watch rep, if memory serves. The blonde one that was trying, like, from the Ministry of Truth or something.
Okay.
Sheridan is visited by President Clark.
I like that one.
Veer by Emperor Cartagia.
Okay.
And Franklin by his dad, who died fighting on the other side of the Civil War. I don't know if that is conjecture or expanded universe or something that I missed.
That'd be interesting.
Could be interesting. Yeah.
I loved his dad's character.
I've got one for Zach.
Yeah.
I want to see Nagrath. Bring Nagrath back.
I mean, I will take any excuse to bring back my favorite praying mantis.
Zach we just get like a scene of Nagrath showing up in Zach's quarters and him like rolling his eyes. Like, yeah, that's all I need. That's all I need.
That's all you need. Yeah.
Oh gosh, Franklin wasn't even in this episode either, was he? Wow.
No, he wasn't. Yeah.
Franklin gone, Vera gone. Wow.
We don't interact with any of the telepaths this episode.
Thank God. Sorry.
I think it could have been
Franklin.
interesting if Kosh visited Lita, Kosh 1,
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
and
that
then
would've
passed
been nice,
along the
too.
message to Sheridan that way.
Oh,
Although
yeah.
it is good at the end of the episode the way Lockley does it. But
That
that
is
could have been
good.
interesting.
It does seem rather random that Kosh would pick,
Lockley.
yeah, or
He just needs
Zoe.
to get the message. Yeah.
Kosh just grabbed whoever happened to be passing by in the spirit realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just-
Sheridan tries to get answers while Morden taunts Lanier. He is going to betray the Anla Shock.
Yikes.
Gonna betray them
Yeah.
Rangers. Lockley tries to piece everything together. Zoe, for some reason, knows that she's on the Mercury homeworld.
I thought that was a little strange. Because according to their
They
dialogue,
all understand that they're dead,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
they might understand the circumstances of their. They might not like get why or how, but they might know that. Oh well, this is Mercury stuff, of course.
Maybe Kosh told her on her way. I mean,
that's
Also
what
true.
happened.
those guys know a lot. Yeah.
This is where we hear Lockley's awkward fucking password. Also, not very secure. Just for everyone looking for me to say that out loud.
Yeah.
It is a passphrase. It's a very short passphrase, but you need a little bit more.
You
out
gotta
there.
throw
You
in
gotta
some
have more
special
words.
characters. Give us some of them. Like
Capital,
numbers,
lowercase.
Zoe's dead in Tarobang.
It's-
Like, you just get in there with something.
yeah, that was a very weird choice. They could have just left it as her name, but God, Zoe's dead. That's creepy.
It's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Also, like, you have to say that out loud every time. In front of other people, too.
Yeah. No, they're like, oh my god. Like,
Mhm.
am I?
Ugh.
Should I offer condolences? Like, what am I supposed to do here?
Ugh.
It's terrible.
She hits up Alfredo and asks for a minor miracle in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you always lie about how much time something actually takes to your boss.
Oh, you didn't tell him how long it would really take, did you?
True. Legit. I like took that to my work, like in my brain. When I
Oh,
went
yes.
into my career, I was like, Scotty told me this way.
Under promise, over deliver.
My previous boss would legit just call it Scottying people.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Like, he'd like, you've got to.
Mm-hmm.
My previous boss would do the opposite. He
Oh,
would
no.
tell our boss how long it would take and would then come back to me and be like, hey, we need to get this done in 2 hours. I'm like, this is a 6-hour job. What is wrong with you? Anyway, speaking of which, if I just may say, Alfredo, I've been
Mhm.
meaning to ask about this because I know
That's Garibaldi's middle name.
Mhm.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's
'Cause I
Michael
thought it was-
Alfredo Garibaldi.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Catching up on the previous episodes of Who Are You? I love you guys. I love when you trash Garibaldi because growing up,
He deserves it.
I loved his character, and I still do. But I realize now that I love his character. I hate him as a person because
Mhm.
I've worked with Garibaldis before. Like I've met Garibaldis. They're terrible people.
Yeah. They're not fun for
They're
sure.
not fun, but it's fun to see him on screen. It's kind of like the same way I feel about Khan from Wrath of Khan.
Mhm.
Amazing villain, love him. But God, it would really suck if he was a real person.
Yeah. To be sure. Yeah.
Londo cares not for Lockley's emergency broadcast, and Adira puts a clock on the evening. This will end soon, and she's gone when it does. Garibaldi hacks the phones even faster than asked, and then tells her immediately, "You fucking amateur."
Yeah.
Rebo and Zudi tell Delenn and Sheridan they're giving up comedy for politics.
This is a bit, right? This is one of those straight-faced bits.
This has to be a straight-faced bit. We just want to do something really important, like politics.
Yeah, I liked their speech of. I loved how Sheridan said during the Clark administration how no other news outlet would dare say the things they said on their show. And he's like, well, nobody takes comedians seriously. And I was like, wow, this is pre-Jon Stewart, this
Yeah.
era.
Yeah. I wrote something about, boy, some things have changed in the last 30 years.
Yeah, this is before John Oliver has won journalism awards.
Yeah. Yeah. they're definitely making jokes about clowns in the Senate, right? Here, even though they're saying everything with a straight face. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. Politicians are the comedians, but they're just not funny.
And this is full on Penn Jillette in his libertarian era, lest we forget.
Yeah. Didn't he dial that back? Didn't I discover that for Yum Yum
Yes.
Pod? I think I did.
Yes, he did. Lockley talks to Sheridan briefly, who schedules an 8 a.m. meeting at like 4 a.m. You fucking asshole.
Oh,
You are the worst person.
speaking of people I've worked with, the types that I hate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, hell's wrong with you? Yeah.
Well, I suppose it is the
I'm
military,
up and working,
right?
so you should be up and working.
Yep.
Ugh. We do learn that he did get through to the Precari homeworld, though, because he's just all like, oh, yeah, that's what the Precari homeworld told me. Everything's going to be fine, guys. It's all like, you didn't want to mention that
Before
earlier to anyone,
Yeah.
maybe. Also, well, I guess it makes sense. But if he could get through to the Precari homeworld with ease, then, and that's where the station is,
Yeah, then how come he couldn't
wouldn't he
contact
just,
the station?
yeah, nah.
It's a lot of mental gymnastics to make this happen here.
It's a fun episode.
I mean, this is just the premise of it that the Precari said we must buy it. We can't rent it because then we don't own it, but we'll give it back tomorrow. I'm like, my dude, how is that not renting?
Because they might not.
We like owning this part of the station. We're going to kick everyone out. Yeah.
The sun rises and the dead leave. Morden's just like, bye, nerd.
Oh, but I did love the part when Garibaldi, or when Lockley called down to Garibaldi's quarters, and Dodger immediately jumps to attention and reports, says, killed in action, sir. I was going to say, I've known Marines. That is totally what a Marine would do. Like, God, dude. She probably has a USMC tattoo on her bicep.
Yeah, she spit some crayons out to get that out of I know the jokes. Dodger is like, shit's weird, I don't know, bye. Zoe's like, oh, by the way, I did kill myself, sorry. Also, Kosh says this thing, bye.
Yeah. Kosh? Who's Kosh?
And then Sheridan and Lockley discuss. The little mystery isn't all that bad, she says. No one got hurt. Honestly, like, as far as weird shit goes in space, this was pretty harmless. It made for a good hour of television, don't you think, John? By the way, Kosh says this thing.
What was
and
the
he's
message
just
that he
shook.
gave when
It
when
was
the long night
It was a Kosh
ends?
riddle, yeah.
Yeah, it's very Kosh-like. Return
When
to
the
the
long
end of
night
the beginning.
ends, return to the end of the beginning.
Yeah. Fucking Vorlons.
Right?
Yeah. And
It'll make sense at the end of the season.
It does make sense at the end of the season, yeah.
That's you can count on that one. Wando is now laughing at Rebo and Zudi despite having defamed them for 5 seasons of television up until this point.
he's
So
been
I
won
guess
over.
he just was really pent up.
Zoot.
Zudi whispers in Sheridan's ear because it tells me to, answering Penn's thing where he's like, well, the only word I've ever heard him say is why. So why? Because it tells me to.
Oh, I forgot to mention that part that, yeah, according to our other podcast, our last time on canon, that in that scene, Sheridan was committing a vaudeville war crime with Penn there. That he was all just like, so what did he say? Why? Because I want to know. No, why? That's what he said.
Yeah. And that is our episode.
Now, at the end there, when Zudi talks to Sheridan, when you guys first saw this episode, tell me I'm not the only one who thought Zudi was a shadow agent.
I definitely feel like there's something about Zudi that ain't right.
It was so...
Do you think that little statue is some shadow technology?
I thought
King
that there was an unfinished plot line where Zudi, that little thing, was actually one of the Drock keeper devices.
Well,
Like,
I mean, why is the third question, right? We have, who are you? We have, what do you want?
what
We
do you
have,
want?
why are you here?
Why are
I
you
think
here?
was
Yeah.
the emperor.
Mhm.
But yeah, why?
oh man,
So it's something's not right.
yeah. There were. I've been meaning to put this up on a poll on Dominion Media Television because Babylon 5, it left. I felt like they were purposely creating threads that they could pull on for possible spin-off series in the final season.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to put up a poll for like, what unproduced spin-off would you have liked to seen? Because unfortunately all we got was Legend of the Rangers, and thank God that didn't go anywhere. But I was thinking that one of the ideas I had was like a Jakar and Lita Explore the Universe spin-off series. Because, at the end
potential.
They go off.
They go off at the end, yeah.
And oh man, I had some other ideas. I should have written them down for this show, but they were really good ideas.
Well, you've got time, Vic, because I don't know if you remember, but you requested to be penciled in for when we watched the Crusade premiere, I think it was.
Yeah, that one and Call to Arms.
Oh, Call to Arms, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it then.
Yeah.
I
have many thoughts on Call to Arms.
I have a question for you guys. So,
all right, let's hear it.
If there was some kind of mysterious ritual thing like this that only happens every 200 years that you don't know much about, but it's supposed to be a grand mystical experience, would you Jakar and try to duck it, or are you going to embrace it and go to your quarters?
I'm in.
I'd dive in, most definitely.
100%.
One of my retirement goals is I want to try to do my own amateur ghost hunter thing.
Sure.
Like I want to go to a band and play. Like that stuff has always fascinated me. Like I'm rational to the point where like I'm like, okay, ghosts don't exist, paranormal stuff, it's all crap, but I want to believe. I want to find a freaking poltergeist, even if I just like get scared shitless and have a heart attack. It's if I have that experience, I would be so happy,
Yeah.
But yeah, I would totally be down. I would dive in head first.
I honestly don't think Jakar really would have ducked it, but yeah.
Well, I think he would have ducked it
think...
because he believes. Like he's very much a believer. And he is like, oh, hell no. I don't want any part of this.
all it would have taken for me to buy Jakar's attitude this whole episode is for a line of like, oh no, Jaquan had a line, like Jaquan warned us about this thing.
Yeah.
Said it is not for Narns.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would just, oh, of course Jakar's not going to do it then.
Yeah. But he regrets it there at the end.
He does.
Man, it would make for a good what if. Like if Jakar actually had stayed in his quarters, I imagine it would have been packed with a ton of dead Nars.
He knows a lot of dead people, doesn't he?
It would have just been his dad.
Yeah. I think his dad would have been there too. Yeah.
Or Kosh is the other answer. And Kosh comes clean on the, hey, like, sorry I fucked with you. But look at all the good it's done.
Yeah.
And that could be an interesting turn for Jakar's character.
Yeah, like a spiritual crisis.
Yeah. But maybe you just don't want to fuck with Jakar that much too. You need someone to be a little bit of comic relief, I guess, besides Penn and Teller and everyone else in this fucking episode.
Jakar's eyeball visits him. This is Florida. How have you been?
All right. Well, with all that said, I believe it's time to rate an episode.
Yeah. On our patented scale, Babylon's 1 to 5.
Who wants to go first?
Well, Victor is our guest.
That's true.
I love this episode. I've watched it many times, even just preparing for this podcast, and I enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It's different, it's unique, and it's a very welcome break from that freaking telepath arc that we're in the middle of. Oh man,
it's so bad.
Yeah.
I had discussions about this, and I wish I would have found it. It was a while back in the Babylon 5 spoo posting group. I made a joke. I made a little meme where Delenn. You guys remember in one of the, I think it was the first or second season, where there was the human telepath girl on the run from the Psych War.
Yeah.
And she seeks asylum on Mimbar at the end of the episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a little meme I made of Delenn giving her a thumbs up saying, "Yeah, sure, come to Mimbar, we'll shelter you." And then Byron, she's always like, "No, go away," because it made no sense that these telepaths have such a hard time finding a new home. It's very nonsensical. And some other of my fans there chimed in and saying it's like, well, it's not the point, telling the story about these disenfranchised people. And I'm like, I understand that. I understand the point, but it's for this medium and this audience, it really doesn't work. For a sci-fi audience who are sci-fi nerds, we love the details, and to just hand wave that detail about, be like, it's nonsensical that the telepaths would find themselves in this situation, especially considering there's a freaking planet right below the station where they could all hide out.
Well, Drawl's protective, right?
Yeah, you can probably convince Drawl to hang out with. Actually, I'm going to say that last time on that the telepaths were offered asylum by Drawl, but they all couldn't stand Zathras and Zathras's. And they're like, hell no, give us a better plan. No, we're not going to live there.
The thoughts going around Zathras and the Zathrai. There's got to be so many loud thoughts, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
They couldn't take
the
it.
telepaths, they can't sleep down there. They're just like, Zathras, shut up. No, not Zathras. I said Zathras.
Yeah. Well, Xhafer, how do you feel about this episode?
I do really enjoy this episode. If I didn't give that impression, listener, I apologize. I love gimmicky bullshit.
Sure.
When it's well done. I'm a simp for Neil Gaiman. Is that the right? I don't know the slang these days.
Yeah.
So like I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. I don't give a fuck. I enjoy this episode a ton. It's fun to bring back characters that we didn't think were ever going to be brought back. Just also we get Ed Wasser, and he's just a fucking joy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it Babylon 4 out of 5.
Well, I'm just going to go for gold, guys, and I'm giving it the 5 out of 5. I do love it.
Whoa!
I think
right.
that when we did this with Yum Yum Pod, I think I was a little more down on it and like, what? I don't know. I remember loving it. I don't know that I love it now. Every scene, something like totally unhinged happens, and I'm here for it. I'm really
Very
this is
memorable,
the year
yeah.
as well that I'm just going to be unhinged, and I'm just going to do these wacky things that these people are doing, and I love it. Also, yes, Neil Gaiman's writing. I can accept a lot of hand waving from him. It was fun the whole time. If it's fun, I'll put up with a lot. So
Most definitely.
yeah,
And
I love it.
I forgot to mention, for mine, another reason I love this episode is that the actress who plays Dodger also was in my very favorite episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Starship Mine, which was Die Hard in Space.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
She was the leader of the terrorist group that was trying to hijack the Enterprise or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, very different character, and was very awesome.
Yum Yum does a bit where they talk about a guest actor or actress and talk about their career. And it was Dodger for that episode.
Oh, awesome.
Because I'm guessing in Grow Post they talked about Franklin's dad.
Sure.
Yeah. No, we discussed that there too.
And also someone had, gosh, I wish I would have written down who said it, but someone in the Dominion media community had pointed out that Garibaldi's got that Dodger hat trick. Like, he's a fan of the Dodgers. He hooked up with Dodger, and he's got Duck Dodgers as his.
Yeah, I never caught that. That's so silly. Also, hey, did he not mention at all to her that he was married to Lise? Like, I think he talked about Lise a little bit, but
They did.
oh, okay.
Yeah, they talked about it. Yeah.
I love how
Yeah.
he's been married to her this whole time, but she's not on Babylon 5, and he doesn't talk about her.
Yeah.
But Lise.
Who's that girl? Who's that girl? It's Lise.
Well, this was a great time. I had a great time.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
And it'll be a great time next week or not. We've got season 5, episode 9, In the Kingdom of the Blind. Byron and the other telepaths seek a homeworld of their own. On Centauri Prime, Londo's friend is murdered and is afraid for his own life. More assassination plots in season 5. Just got to get them in.
Yep, the return of the telepath arc. And listeners, you didn't see this back home, but as soon as Xhafer mentioned it, his dog walked out of the room. Even the dog doesn't like the telepath arc. Like, nope.
Indeed.
All right. Well, with all that said, we just have to say thank you. Thank you, Jeremy Siegel, for our lovely theme music. We really appreciate you. You can find Jeremy's work at jeremysiegel42.bandcamp.com and on all your streaming services as Nuclear Jaguar.
And thank you to Angry Duck Time Machine from Instagram for our podcast artwork.
And thank you to Aaron for editing your podcast, because as I'm a podcast newbie, I've started editing episodes myself. I can definitely appreciate what a chore it can be sometimes.
Yeah. And hey, Vic, you didn't plug a thing. You can listen to Victor and I and Ben, who is our other co-host on Last Time On, where we watch shows in not a random order, but we just skip a ton of episodes, and we watched all of Breaking Bad in like 6 episodes. We're doing Stargate SG-1 right now with Vic. It's been a blast to have you on. And Vic, where else can they find you?
Also find me on facebook.com/Dominion Media Television. If you're a fan of science fiction and dick jokes, it's where you belong.
Covered.
The intersection of our fans, surely. Thank you to you, the listener, for being here with us today. We had a great time. I hope you did too. Great episode of Babylon 5 that we covered. If you want to talk more about it, you can email us at whoareyoub5@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on our Discord.
We'll see you next week, Internet.
Bye.
Bye.